Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I am Non of Information Highwayman, and you are watching another Friday Ace of Spades website review. Today, the danger of believing in the fold. Now, the fold, in case you're not aware, is the area of your screen below which you cannot see when you arrive on a website, so called because it mimics the fold on a newspaper when you fold it in half and you can only see the top of the page. To illustrate the principle, I'll be looking at www.timecenter.com. And as always, we'll be going through the Frodo conversion rate checklist, which stands for first reaction, orientation, desirability, and offers. Not forgetting that the primary elements here are the Odo ones, orientation, desirability, and offers, and that in order for them to work, they need to get attention using contrast and iPath. Let's jump into first reaction. How does the site make me feel? Obviously, a well-designed site, professionally designed. It doesn't look like it's got any obvious issues. It's got an attractive color scheme. It's got nice icons along the bottom right-hand side there. There's a well-formed call to action button, which is good. It's got a nice font for the headline text. It's got a cool little logo. So everything feels good. In terms of first reactions, I don't really have any major issues, except that maybe the font feels a little bit small, and I will talk about that in a minute. It's a pet peeve of mine, but other than that, no problems. Orientation, am I in the right place? Okay, here there is a small issue, in as much as Time Center doesn't tell me very much about what the website is about. It would be really good to see a tagline here to go along with it. So it would say something like Time Center online scheduling or something along those lines that would give me just a bit more of a clue as to where I am. There is no search bar. It may not be necessary on the site because there aren't a large number of pages, so that's not necessarily a problem. But the headline does certainly help me out. It says more appointments guaranteed. So I know that I'm looking at some kind of site that does something to do with appointments, and I then get taken to this lovely image here. So I know that it has a lot to do with appointments because I can actually see an example of the software in action. It's obviously web-based software, and it's obviously appointing things. It's a scheduling system. So although it could be more explicit to begin with up the top, especially the tagline, the orientation isn't terrible. It could be improved, but it could certainly be a lot worse. Desirability. Do I believe I'll gain more than I invest? Alright, what am I being asked to invest, first of all? Well, I'm really being asked to give my time to try it for free. Now, that's actually quite a commitment. You'd be surprised. A lot of people are not interested in that kind of commitment straight up, especially when they arrive on a website for the first time. There's also the issue that people talk about free trials. The word trial has a lot of negative connotations. Think about the way that it is often used in other contexts. Court trials, trials involving hardship. You don't want to use the word trial if you can help it. If you can find a better word that will have a more positive connotation, that would certainly be good. However, in general, the desirability is going to suffer because of the fact that what's happening here is a thought sequence is being created which is far, far too short and far, far too punctuated. What's happening is we're getting the headline is all about the beginning of the desirability, right? So more appointments guaranteed. That's actually quite an intriguing headline, and it's obviously got a good benefit to it. So I'm getting interested from the beginning. The word discover in the body copy, that always does well. So discover the fastest way to accept appointments online. Get started in 60 seconds. Your clients will love it. That's also quite good because people like things to be quick and easy. And if you can prove that it's the fastest way to accept appointments online, that's even better. But even if you are giving that as a benefit, that's certainly something people will be interested in. However, you're then jumping straight into try it for free or take a tour. And the problem here is that you haven't really given enough information to get people excited enough to try it for free. They might be interested in taking a tour, but they're being distracted by all this. They don't want to take a tour before they've read the stuff. They feel like, oh, okay, I could take a tour, but I should probably check out what's written here so that I know a bit more, because that's what people want to know. They want to know more. People don't buy stuff because they know too little. They buy stuff because they know a great deal. No one ever bought stuff after being told. No one ever didn't buy stuff after being told too much, but people certainly have failed to buy stuff because they haven't known enough about it. So you've got all this text here, which really is coming here in the thought sequence. Your reader wants to read this text first before they click on the call to action button. So the obvious thing to do is to move the text into that position and move the call to action down. And I'm fairly confident that the reason that this has been set out in this way, this particular layout has been chosen, is because I've seen it in a huge number of other websites. People think that you need to put the call to action above the fold. This is not true. You can put a call to action above the fold, and if it is a call to action which requires very little investment, or where the benefit is so immediately obvious that the investment is negligible compared to it, then a call to action above the fold certainly makes sense. The other thing that you can do is you can put a call to action above the fold and then repeat it again after the copy. But the important thing to understand is that the fold is not important because people scroll. They really, really do. They don't even think about scrolling, they simply do it. They see that the text continues down the bottom here, and so they carry on scrolling to find out what's below. So having a call to action above the fold is only useful if you've given enough information to complete that thought sequence and make the call to action a logical thing to actually click on. Now, a couple more points with regard to desirability. On the right hand side we have 10 reasons for appointment scheduling, and they each have images next to them. Now I have said in the past, and I'm a firm proponent of using images, except that images only serve two purposes. You need to either demonstrate or tease. Neither of these is really being accomplished here. Some of these are self-explanatory in a sense, so this one here obviously relates to statistics, that's fairly clear, but the magnifying glass has no obvious relation to appointment book history. The boxes have no obvious relation to customer database. And so on. So the images really are actually just distracting from the copy because they're grabbing attention away from it while not actually demonstrating what's inside it clearly. The other issue is that we have two columns. This is very, very common. We have two columns of text, which is like having two people talking at once. It makes your copy seem unfocused. What do you read first? I don't know. The logical thing to do would be to combine this column and this section here, and then put that into a single column and move the testimonials into a sidebar, which is where people expect to see them anyway. So those are some issues with the copy which are going to reduce its desirability, and the final thing is that it's too small. You need to make the font size 16 pixels or above, especially if your prospects are older readers, because at the age of 40, only 50% of the light that enters the eye at the age of 20 is getting in, so you're actually seeing half as much, literally, even though your eye obviously adjusts for it. Reading small text is really, really hard. Offers. Do my goals match the available options? Well, I have talked about how my goals probably do not match the available options up here at the top of the fold. If we move the call to action down to the bottom, my goals might well match the available options. I might be interested in trying it for free. However, I think that very likely it would be sensible to alter the weighting here so that try it for free is weighted as the less attractive option, and take a tour is weighted as the more attractive option, because people tend to want to tour things before trying them. They want to see how it works before they actually get in and try it themselves. And let me say though that having a weighted call to action like this is really, really good. You definitely want to have calls to action where you've got two at a time, and you definitely want to make them, one of them visually dominant and one of them subdominant. So that is all for today. To summarize, don't be tricked into creating a bad thought sequence by adhering to fallacious best practices like always put calls to action above the fold. Secondly, in line with that, copy goes before calls to action, because copy is what creates the feeling of the offer. So you need to create that thought sequence where you start off with grabbing the attention, you build desirability, and then you offer the thing that you are offering. Thirdly, keep copy focused, so don't try to do too many things at once in the copy. Don't try to present testimonials in a column and then have a separate column for benefits. Make sure that you are presenting a single column of focused benefits, and then if you've got testimonials, you can either work them into the copy or you can have them in a sidebar if necessary, because people expect to see them in that kind of format. And I've already mentioned number 4, shift things like testimonials into sidebars. For everything you need to know about the stuff, of course you can get hold of Attention Thievery 101. There is free online content you can sign up for at attentionthievery.info, and of course you can also purchase the full course content there. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I am Non, and I look forward to offering you more useful advice at attentionthievery.info, and of course again in the Friday Ace of Spades next week.